Non-binary is when a person chooses to identify as neither male nor female, usually taking on different pronouns like she, her, jim, or z, zer, zim. Gender fluid can also fit into the spectrum of gender identities. A person who is gender fluid changes their gender identity that best fits with how they're feeling, changing from male to female.
A post-Christian culture in many ways becomes a post-reality culture. I mean, we're denying basics of reality. Even now, some basics of reality that are observable, you know, things like gender. I mean, that's an observable fact in biology and to the human eye, and yet these are things that we are denying.
Transgender people are people whose identity don't match the one that they were assigned at birth. And they may or may not have surgery to get their body in line with their identity.
But the gender box is getting even bigger.
Dr. Julie Hamilton is a licensed marriage and family therapist.
We live in a culture that emphasizes perceptions, sometimes even more so than reality. And I think that's probably been the postmodern influence. With postmodernism, you have this idea that there is no reality, it's all just perceptions. But really God defines us, and I think that it's just an unfortunate place that we've arrived in our culture.
Gender fluid and genderqueer people identify as two or more genders.
And may move between masculine and feminine presentations.
All these words can be dizzying, and we're just scratching the surface.
This notion of gender fluidity, which originated not in the sciences, but in postmodern university English departments, has gained steam in the culture very quickly and is already being backed by courts and enforced in schools, universities, and even government. In Canada, a new law allows the government to take children away if parents don't accept their chosen gender identity. In the US, some pediatricians are prescribing puberty blockers, hormones, and even surgery for gender-confused children. But is this really in the best interest of children?
The baby is born with no conception of gender. The baby is just a baby. This gender is a psychological conception that develops later during the first decade of life.
Dr. Felipe Vizcarrando is a member of the American College of Pediatricians. He notes that it's common for young children to be unsure of their sex and gender roles.
The earlier that the gender confusion is treated with chemicals and surgery, the earlier that you are that these children are being forced to go into this lifestyle that is medically unsafe and dangerous. As a pediatrician, this is against the best interest of the child and against the child's health, because as we are doing this, the child is being ushered into a life that is unhealthy. And as the child grows and develops into an adolescent and then into an adult, it will be forced to continue with this lifestyle and will not be able to go back to the original biological sex.
Serious and irreversible damage to children can result from adopting faulty ideas. Ultimately, America's gender confusion is not about science and reality at all. It's about worldview.
A secular society assumes that the world is one of our own making that we invite God into. The Christian worldview begins with a very fundamental premise. We live in God's world, He doesn't live in ours. And those are two completely different worldviews. They're fundamental assumptions of two completely different worldviews, because that changes things like morality, it changes things like authority. And when you can get to the bottom of where these ideas come from, then I think it gives us an insight into why people believe what they do and why they say what they do.